some baby, yeah.
Hey guys, it's your boy Malik on Fleek 3.0 back at it again with another motherfucking video, and I wanted to talk about this. I've been lately in these couple videos, I've been talking about Spider-Man ships, right? You know, I just did a Miles Morales and Gwen Stacy, sorry, my fault. I'm hyped for that when it comes to Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, you know, Spider-Man to Spider-Verse 2, you know, I'm ready for that. And I also just did a Spider-Man and White Tiger from Ultimate Spider-Man. High key, they should have got together if the writers weren't so pussy and decided to go back to the norm when they could really just do whatever they fucking want and people will actually accept it if they actually try the experiment. But that's just me. Obviously, I'm not that fucking creative when it comes to story writing, even though I and a couple others, maybe a few, know that Spider-Man and White Tiger should have got together. But I'm gonna talk about this one ship, high key, that should have never ever on me should stopped. It's Spider-Man and Silk. This ship should not ever have stopped. It's because they fucking stopped it. It's astounding to me of why. Like, why would you do that? Like, why would you actually do that? You had no reason to stop this shit because you wanted to put Mary Jane back into the picture. No, my nigga, I'm pretty sure this story happened after the Superior Spider-Man storyline, because I forgot this one short girl in the story was living with Peter Parker at the time. And I remember reading about this. I remember reading this comic, and I read this comic. I looked it up, or I was doing something that had to do with Spider-Man, and I so happened to come across this story. Then I also looked it up on Comic Historian, because I am subscribed to him, and I haven't watched his videos in a while because I haven't been in the comics in like years since I got into anime. But this story came up: Silk and Spider-Man, Cindy Moon, and she's also been confirmed in the MCU, by mind you, okay? If you didn't know that, you know that now. But these two were both bitten by the same spider, right? Coincidence? Hey, you see how you will. Peter Parker I forgot what he was doing, but as Spider-Man, he was doing something. He ended up finding out about Cindy Moon, and whom she was locked up in a fucking cage, essentially, maximum prison. He found her, broke her out, and they had this real physical attraction to each other. Since they got bitten by the same spider, they had this physical attraction to each other they can't keep their hands off each other at all. They'll make out no matter what, basically have sex no matter where the fuck they are. When they're in a fucking taxi, they literally were making out on top of his fucking apartment roof when his roommate came in. Shit crazy, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I wasn't into porn back then. Like, it was around like 2014, 2015 when I first read this comic. I wasn't into hentai, I was not into porn, but I ain't gonna cap, I would have beat off to this shit, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Cause hey, bro, that shit caught me off guard. This is the first time I ever seen anything like this. This is the first comic I read that did anything like this. And it had somebody make out. Me personally, when I read comics, it was always about fighting. I never knew about romance in comics at all, not once. I knew about what would happen, especially in like the Spider-Man movies, like the Tobey Maguire trilogy that came out. I knew about romance. I knew about Mary Jane. But I didn't know what was going on in the comics at that time. I mean, I knew what was going on in the comics, but I didn't see anything like this. Something that I was like, I wouldn't be mad if this fucking was actually going to happen. Like, they actually kept this and had them build a life together, nobody will question it. I mean, some people might. They'd be like, oh, why he give up Mary Jane, Gwen Stacy, any other love interest that he has, Black Cat, all of them for this woman Silk. Bro, if I had a woman get hit with the same thing I got hit with, and we have a physical attraction to each other, why the fuck would I stop that? Why the absolute fuck would I stop that? That's the dumbest shit you could ever do. I don't understand why the authors of the comic storyline that what was happening stopped this from happening. I might be tripping, there might be more into the story, but from the last time I read, and I'm really going off memory, I might have to, maybe after this fucking video, after I post this video, I might just look into it and figure out what the fuck happened between these two, because I know for a fact that Silk went on to have her own storyline, going into time, shit like that, going to different dimensions. I know about that. Don't remember much about it, but I know what's going on in technicality. I do know that they do meet up again. They have a little moment, and it's between the Spider-Verse kind of war that was going on with, I forgot his name. He's a vampire and his family. I forgot. Was it Morbius? Maybe. I might be tripping. Like I said, it's been a while since I read comics. It's been years. I might have to get back onto that. But this is a ship. This is a relationship that should have stuck. This is one of the things that you shouldn't have had just stopped because you want to go back to norm. That's, even though that's what comics do, no matter how much you progress the character, at some point they're going to regress and keep the basic values that they had in the beginning. That's why the MCU, no matter, they can't go back to the base values they had. Iron Man is dead now. Peter Parker is no longer exists in the universe. It's just Spider-Man. Nobody knows who Spider-Man is anymore, because these characters will continue to progress in the movie format, animated show format. They can't go back to their basic values. They can't reset. They cannot do that. So if somebody were to animate this, were to put Silk and Peter Parker in the same storyline, maybe they would do it in MCU. Matter of fact, if they actually do, I shit you not, I'll rewatch that movie a million times, because that's a storyline that I swear to God, it's going to catch up. It's going to catch people off guard if they don't know about who they don't know about Silk and Spider-Man's relationship. If they don't know about that from the comics, this shit will catch them the absolute fuck off guard. Matter of fact, some people are already speculating that Silk may come into the MCU. 100%. Some people are speculating that, because there's going to be a new trilogy of Spider-Man from Tom Holland that's coming out. They're hoping that either Black Cat, Gwen Stacy, or Silk are in the movies. They're hoping that at least one of those three are in the movies. High key, I want Black Cat or Silk. That's just me. But this is one of those, like I said, this is one of the relationships that if it didn't have to go through that comics storyline that had to get reset back into the norm, nobody will have a problem with this. Peter Parker will forever always lose Uncle Ben, always have his Aunt May, always have great power comes with great responsibility, always have Mary Jane, and Gwen Stacy will always die. Those are the ones that will always stick no matter what. So whenever you have another relationship with somebody, it's going to end in some way or some fashion, because I forgot the reason that him and Silk stopped being together. I don't know why. I need to look into it. There was some specific, maybe it made sense at the time, reason, and I'm pretty sure to me it'll probably be dumb, but in the comics it maybe made sense of why they stopped being together. Because this is why Black Cat and Spider-Man can never get married. Even though people high-key want him to marry Black Cat, Silk, somebody else that's not Mary Jane. Even though people might fuck with Mary Jane in the comics, or in the animated universe, or in the MCU, they might fuck with them. fuck with her. But it's just like the best girl in anime. She's not the main character, she's a side character, and everybody fucking loves her, but the MC does not choose her at the end of the day. And people get pissed. This is one of the relationships I'm just like, why? Why would you take away something that, if you develop it, would be special? Spider-Man, Peter Parker, Cindy Moon, Silk would be one of the most interesting storylines if they continued it from that little short comic book run they had. Because now they're both on their own. Spider-Man's with Mary Jane, of course. Silk is somewhere else. She's somewhere else. Maybe they meet back up. I don't know. Literally, I had to go back to read the comics. But seriously, there's some things I understand the comic book universe, but you shouldn't just take away something that will make absolute sense of why they should be together, or the storyline that is actually good, that people are actually interested in, but you take it away. That's one of the problems I have with Damian Wayne's character in the DC Comics, because no matter how much they progress him, at some point they're gonna regress him back to his basic values. In the beginning, they're gonna regress him. That's what they do with Peter Parker. Yeah, they might expand on Silk, but she can never be together with Peter Parker. At least not for a long-term time. You know what I mean? It's sad. It really is, to be honest. This will be an interesting combination. That will actually, if they actually made a new comic book line on this and continued this relationship, I'll buy it. People will buy it. Trust me. At some point, people are going to get tired of the norm, and they want something new. That's why the MCU is out here. They continue to build and build and world build and build. That's why animated universe build and build and build and build. But the comics is the only one that will build and then go back. But that's all for me. Malik on Fleek 3.0 out.